There's something profoundly poetic about pairing two seemingly unrelated ideas: the Dalai Lama, a global spiritual luminary, and Willow Bay, a phrase that could evoke anything from a tranquil natural setting to a metaphorical state of mind. At first glance, they appear disconnected, like two stars in distant galaxies. Yet isn't it often in these contrasts that we find the most profound insights? Life itself is a tapestry woven with threads of opposites: light and shadow, chaos and calm, individuality and unity. These dualities don't exist to oppose each other, but rather to complement and deepen our understanding of existence. So why not explore what happens when we bring these two concepts together? What hidden harmonies might emerge when we allow ourselves to see beyond surface-level differences? Consider this. What if the Dalai Lama represents the boundless ocean of wisdom, compassion, and peace? An infinite expanse where waves of insight crash against the shores of human consciousness. And what if Willow Bay symbolizes the quiet refuge, the still waters where we can drop anchor amidst life's relentless storms? The Dalai Lama's teachings remind us of the vastness of universal truths, urging us to expand our perspective and embrace interconnectedness. Meanwhile, Willow Bay whispers of intimacy, a personal sanctuary where we can retreat, reflect, and reconnect with our inner selves. Together, they form a dialogue, not just between two abstract notions, but between the grandeur of collective humanity and the tender vulnerability of individual experience. Doesn't that spark curiosity? Doesn't it make you wonder how such pairings might illuminate the human condition? After all, aren't we constantly navigating this tension between the universal and the personal? On one hand, we yearn to understand the larger forces that shape our world, the cosmic rhythms, the moral imperatives, the shared struggles of humanity. On the other hand, we seek solace in the small, sacred spaces within us, the quiet moments of clarity, the whispers of intuition, the gentle reminders of who we are beneath the noise. Imagine standing on the edge of Willow Bay at sunset, watching the golden light dance across the water as the willow trees sway gently in the breeze. Now imagine carrying the Dalai Lama's words in your heart, his call for compassion, his vision of peace, his unwavering belief in the goodness of humanity. In that moment, wouldn't you feel both infinitely small and impossibly vast? Small because you're just one person in an endless universe. Vast because you carry within you the same boundless potential for love and wisdom that the Dalai Lama embodies. This interplay between the Dalai Lama's expansive teachings and the intimate symbolism of Willow Bay invites us to ask deeper questions. How do we reconcile the enormity of global challenges with the simplicity of personal acts of kindness? Can a single act of compassion ripple outward to touch countless lives, much like the gentle lapping of waves against the shore? And conversely, can the vastness of universal truths find meaning in the smallest corners of our daily existence? Perhaps the beauty of juxtaposing these two ideas lies in their ability to bridge the gap between what seems unreachable and what feels intimately familiar. The Dalai Lama's wisdom may feel lofty, almost unattainable in its purity, while Willow Bay feels grounding, rooted in the tangible and the immediate. Yet, when brought together, they create a continuum, a reminder that even the loftiest ideals must take root in the soil of everyday life to truly flourish. So let's linger here for a moment longer. Let's marvel at the poetry of contrasts and the magic of connection. Because maybe, just maybe, the answers to life's biggest questions lie not in choosing between opposites, but in finding harmony within them. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we explore these kinds of thought-provoking topics through videos designed to inspire, challenge, and uplift. Each video is a step toward understanding ourselves and the world around us more deeply. The Dalai Lama, a beacon of hope in a fractured world. The Dalai Lama stands as a beacon of hope in a fractured world, a figure whose very presence seems to radiate compassion and wisdom across the globe. To understand him is to delve into centuries of spiritual depth and historical legacy, woven intricately into the fabric of Tibetan Buddhism. Since the 14th century, the lineage of the Dalai Lamas has been revered as manifestations of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, a being who embodies boundless love for all sentient life. Can you imagine carrying such a weight? 2. Be seen not merely as a leader, but as a living symbol of compassion itself must feel both awe-inspiring and humbling. Yet, this is the mantle that Tenzin Gyatso, the 14th Dalai Lama, has carried since he was just 4 years old. A child thrust into a role of immense responsibility. By 15, he found himself leading Tibet through one of its darkest chapters, the Chinese invasion. In 1959, forced into exile, he left behind his homeland, yet never abandoned his mission to preserve its culture, advocate for peace, and inspire humanity with messages of nonviolence and resilience. How does someone endure such profound loss without succumbing to bitterness? Perhaps the answer lies in his teachings that transcend time, place, and circumstance. At the heart of the Dalai Lama's philosophy is a simple yet revolutionary idea. Happiness comes from within. This notion feels almost countercultural in today's fast-paced, materialistic world, where external success often takes precedence over inner fulfillment. Think about it. How many of us chase accolades, promotions, or possessions, only to find ourselves empty-handed when it comes to true contentment? The Dalai Lama reminds us that happiness isn't something ready-made. It's cultivated through our actions, attitudes, and relationships. Happiness is not something ready-made. He once said, "It comes from your own actions." Isn't that a powerful truth? It challenges us to rethink what we value most, to slow down, breathe deeply, and reconnect with ourselves. His emphasis on mindfulness and meditation serves as a lifeline in an era obsessed with productivity and constant motion. What if the key to happiness isn't achieving more, but simply being present? What if the answers we seek lie not in the external world, but in the quiet stillness within? Perhaps the most striking aspect of the Dalai Lama's life is his resilience. Imagine enduring decades of political oppression, international controversy, and the pain of exile, and still choosing to smile, forgive, and love. His unwavering optimism echoes the words of Helen Keller. Although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of the overcoming of it. Doesn't that resonate deeply with his journey? Despite unimaginable hardships, he has remained steadfast in his commitment to peace and understanding. His approach to conflict resolution, rooted in nonviolence and dialogue, is inspired by luminaries like Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. But beyond their methods, there's a shared belief in the transformative power of compassion. Compassion, he teaches, has the ability to bridge even the widest chasms of division. So I ask you, in our own lives, how often do we choose understanding over judgment, empathy over anger? How often do we pause to consider the humanity of those who oppose us, rather than reacting with hostility or fear? The Dalai Lama's life and teachings invite us to reflect on our own capacity for resilience and compassion. He shows us that adversity doesn't have to harden us. It can soften us, opening pathways to greater empathy and connection. He teaches us that true strength isn't about resisting change, but embracing it, flowing like water around obstacles instead of breaking against them. And he reminds us that no matter how fractured the world may seem, there is always room for healing, for forgiveness, for love. Through his example, we are called not only to admire his wisdom, but to embody it, to carry forward the light of compassion in our own corners of the world. Willow Bay, a symbol of serenity and renewal. If we imagine Willow Bay as a physical place, a bay cradled by willow trees, it becomes more than just a picturesque scene. It transforms into a sanctuary, a retreat from the relentless noise of modern life. Picture this: the delicate sway of willow branches brushing against the surface of calm waters, their long tendrils creating a curtain of green that shields you from the outside world. The soft murmur of waves lapping gently against the shore, the golden glow of sunlight filtering through the leaves, casting dappled patterns on the ground. Doesn't it feel like stepping into a different realm? One where time slows down, where the chaos of daily existence fades into the background. In literature and art, bays often symbolize safety, introspection, and renewal. They are places where ships take shelter during storms, much like how we seek solace when life's turbulence threatens to overwhelm us. Isn't there something inherently comforting about the idea of finding refuge in such a space? A bay doesn't demand anything from us. It simply exists, offering its quiet embrace. Willows themselves carry rich symbolism, their presence evoking a sense of resilience and grace. Their ability to bend without breaking mirrors the flexibility and adaptability required to navigate life's challenges. Think about it. Willows thrive in conditions that might seem inhospitable. Wetlands, riverbanks, places where other trees struggle to survive. Yet, they flourish, their roots digging deep into the earth while their branches sway freely with the wind. As the poet William Stafford wrote, "It is important that awake people be awake, or a breaking line may discourage them back to sleep." Willows remind us to stay awake, to remain flexible and open to change, even when the winds of adversity threaten to uproot us. There's wisdom in their movement, a lesson in surrendering to forces beyond our control without losing our essence. Perhaps Willow Bay, imagined as a physical place, embodies this same spirit, a reminder that strength lies not in rigidity, but in the ability to flow with life's currents. Now, let's entertain the possibility that Willow Bay refers to a person, a name imbued with meaning, carrying within it the weight of identity and purpose. Names have stories, don't they? Willow suggests grace and resilience, qualities that evoke images of bending yet unbroken spirits. Bay, on the other hand, evokes images of shelter and protection, a haven for those in need. If there exists a Willow Bay, a writer, an activist, a healer, what might her story reveal about the intersection of personal purpose and collective healing? Imagine meeting someone named Willow Bay. Wouldn't you expect her to radiate warmth, kindness, and strength? Perhaps she embodies the same qualities as the Dalai Lama, a commitment to compassion, a reverence for nature, and an unshakable belief in humanity's potential for good. Or maybe she's simply someone who creates spaces of refuge for others, whether literal or metaphorical. She might be the friend who listens without judgment, the mentor who guides with patience, or the stranger who extends a helping hand in a moment of need. Either way, the name alone invites us to dream big, to envision what it means to live a life rooted in service and connection. Beyond geography or identity, Willow Bay might also represent a state of mind, a place of inner peace where we can retreat when life feels overwhelming. We all need sanctuaries, don't we? Places where we can lay down our burdens, process our emotions, and recharge our spirits. The Dalai Lama teaches us that true peace begins within, and perhaps Willow Bay is a metaphor for that internal haven. Think about it. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to pause, to rest, to simply be? Our culture glorifies busyness, equating productivity with worthiness. But what if the real achievement lies in cultivating stillness? What if the greatest gift we can give ourselves is the space to breathe, to reflect, to reconnect with the essence of who we are? As Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully expressed, the present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. Maybe Willow Bay is a call to embrace the present moment, to find joy in the small, quiet things that often go unnoticed. It's in these moments of stillness that we discover the depth of our own resilience, the beauty of simply existing without striving. Perhaps Willow Bay is both a literal and metaphorical space, a convergence of the external and internal worlds. It could be a bay surrounded by willows, a person whose name carries the weight of hope and healing, or a state of mind that reminds us to bend without breaking, to seek shelter without shame, to find peace amidst chaos. Whatever form it takes, Willow Bay invites us to slow down, to listen, to honor the quiet wisdom that resides within and around us. It whispers that renewal is always possible, that serenity is not a destination, but a practice, and that even in the stormiest of times, there is a place where we can anchor ourselves, a place called Willow Bay. Exploring thematic connections. Where do these paths converge? The convergence of the Dalai Lama and Willow Bay is not merely coincidental. It's a profound intersection of ideas that resonate deeply with the human experience. Both embody values and principles that transcend their individual meanings, offering insights into how we relate to the world, ourselves, and each other. Let's delve further into these thematic connections, exploring the layers of meaning they reveal about environmental stewardship, inner peace, resilience, and cultural storytelling. One of the most compelling connections between the Dalai Lama and Willow Bay lies in their shared reverence for nature, a reverence that feels increasingly urgent in an era defined by climate crises and ecological imbalance. The Dalai Lama has long warned humanity about the dangers of environmental destruction, framing it not just as a scientific or political issue, but as a moral imperative. He reminds us that the earth is our only home, and our actions, or inactions, have far-reaching consequences. We must take care of the environment, he says, because it is part of taking care of ourselves. If Willow Bay refers to a natural location, it could serve as a poignant reminder of the fragility of ecosystems and the delicate balance required to sustain them. Willows, for instance, are more than just picturesque trees swaying by riversides. They play a vital role in stabilizing riverbanks, preventing erosion, and supporting biodiversity. Their roots dig deep into the soil, holding everything together even as their branches sway freely above. Bays, too, are sanctuaries of life, providing habitats for countless species and acting as buffers against storms. Together, they exemplify the interconnectedness of nature, a web where every element plays a crucial role. Yet, this balance is precarious, easily disrupted by human negligence or greed. So I pose this question: are we treating the earth with the care and respect it deserves, or are we taking its gifts for granted, assuming they will always be there, no matter how much we exploit them? Imagine standing at the edge of Willow Bay, watching the water ripple gently under the shade of willow trees. Wouldn't you feel a sense of responsibility to protect this place, to ensure its beauty endures for future generations? Perhaps Willow Bay symbolizes not just one bay or one grove of willows, but all the fragile ecosystems around the world that depend on our stewardship. It calls us to action, urging us to live in harmony with nature rather than dominating it. After all, what kind of legacy do we want to leave behind? A barren wasteland or a thriving planet teeming with life? Both the Dalai Lama and Willow Bay point us toward the importance of inner peace, a state of being that seems elusive in today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world. The Dalai Lama advocates for mindfulness practices like meditation, which help us cultivate awareness, calmness, and clarity. He teaches that true happiness doesn't come from external achievements, but from the stillness within. Similarly, the imagery of Willow Bay, a serene, reflective space, invites us to slow down and reconnect with ourselves. Isn't it fascinating how nature mirrors our inner states? Just as a bay reflects the sky above, so too does our outer world reflect our inner one. When we're agitated, the world feels chaotic. When we're peaceful, the world feels harmonious. The Dalai Lama often emphasizes this connection, reminding us that calm mind brings inner strength and self-confidence. So that's very important for good health. But how often do we neglect this simple truth, allowing stress and busyness to consume us? Consider this. What would happen if you carved out just 5 minutes a day to sit quietly, breathe deeply, and simply be? Would the world stop turning? Or would you find, in those moments of stillness, a renewed sense of clarity and purpose? Willow Bay might represent this practice, the act of pausing, reflecting, and finding solace amidst life's storms. It reminds us that peace isn't something we find externally. It's something we cultivate within. And perhaps, in doing so, we can transform not only ourselves, but also the world around us. After all, a calm mind is better equipped to respond to challenges with compassion and wisdom, rather than fear and anger. Life is unpredictable, isn't it? Storms come unexpectedly, testing our resolve and challenging our strength. Both willows and bays embody qualities of resilience and adaptability, qualities that mirror the Dalai Lama's teachings on overcoming adversity through compassion and perseverance. Willows thrive in difficult conditions, bending with the wind rather than resisting it. They teach us that flexibility is not weakness but strength. By yielding to forces beyond our control, we avoid breaking under pressure. Bays, too, offer shelter during storms, providing a safe haven until calmer waters return. They remind us that even in the midst of chaos, there are spaces of refuge, if only we know where to look. These attributes parallel the Dalai Lama's message of resilience. He has faced unimaginable hardships, exile, loss, political oppression, and yet he remains steadfast in his commitment to peace and compassion. His life is a testament to the power of adaptability and hope. Reflect on this. How do you respond to life's challenges? Do you resist change, clinging rigidly to old patterns? Or do you embrace uncertainty, trusting that growth often arises from discomfort? As Viktor Frankl famously said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Perhaps Willow Bay is a reminder to flow with life's currents rather than fighting against them. It encourages us to bend like the willow, to seek shelter like the bay, and to trust that even the fiercest storms will eventually pass. In doing so, we discover a resilience that allows us to not only survive but thrive. Finally, consider the possibility that Willow Bay appears in literature, film, or other artistic works. If so, it might serve as a narrative device to explore themes of transformation, healing, or reconciliation. The Dalai Lama's teachings could provide a philosophical framework for interpreting such a story, emphasizing the power of compassion and forgiveness to resolve conflicts and restore harmony. For example, imagine a novel set in a fictional Willow Bay where characters grapple with personal and communal struggles. Perhaps it's a tale of estranged siblings reuniting after years of silence, finding common ground while walking along the shores of the bay. Or maybe it's a story about a community coming together to protect their local ecosystem, inspired by the resilience of willow trees and the sanctuary provided by the bay. Through acts of kindness and understanding, the characters learn to heal old wounds and forge new connections. Doesn't that sound like a tale worth telling? Stories have the power to inspire change, and perhaps this imagined Willow Bay could become a symbol of hope and renewal. It could remind us that even in the darkest times, there is light to be found, if only we look closely enough. Art has always been a mirror to society, reflecting our deepest fears and highest aspirations. Willow Bay, whether real or imagined, offers a canvas upon which we can paint our dreams of a better world. A world rooted in compassion, resilience, and interconnectedness. In exploring these thematic connections, we see that the Dalai Lama and Willow Bay are not isolated concepts, but threads in a larger tapestry of meaning. Together, they invite us to reflect on our relationship with the environment, our pursuit of inner peace, our capacity for resilience, and the stories we tell. To make sense of it all, they remind us that even in the face of uncertainty, there is beauty to be found, lessons to be learned, and hope to be shared. Conclusion: embracing the symphony of meaning. So, what does Dalai Lama Willow Bay ultimately mean? Is it a call to action, a meditation on interconnectedness, or simply a beautiful coincidence? Perhaps it's all of the above, and more. Life rarely fits neatly into categories, and sometimes the most profound truths emerge when we allow ourselves to wander between the lines, embracing the beauty of ambiguity and connection. In bringing these two concepts together, the Dalai Lama's boundless wisdom and the serene symbolism of Willow Bay, we uncover a symphony of meaning. Together, they create a harmony that resonates deeply with our shared human experience, compassion that bridges divides, resilience that bends without breaking, stewardship that honors the earth, and inner peace that anchors us amidst life's storms. The Dalai Lama teaches us to expand our hearts and minds, urging us to see the world as one interconnected whole. Meanwhile, Willow Bay invites us to turn inward, to find refuge in the quiet spaces where we can reconnect with ourselves and rediscover what truly matters. Together, they remind us that we are part of something greater, a vast, intricate web of existence where every action matters, every choice ripples outward, and every soul carries the potential for transformation. As we reflect on this journey, I leave you with a final thought. We are all drops in the ocean of existence, yet, together, we form the tide. Each of us has the power to shape the world around us through small, intentional acts of kindness, compassion, and mindfulness. Whether it's choosing to forgive, standing up for justice, or simply pausing to appreciate the beauty of the present moment, we have the ability to create waves of positive change. May we strive to be waves of kindness, ripples of hope, and shores of sanctuary for ourselves, for each other, and for the generations to come.